Alright. What's cracking? How the hell is everybody? Hope everybody is doing well. As well, there is plenty going around. Boy, oh boy. A lot to talk about. Yeah, with that, let's get right into it. So today we are back on Green Valley, Nebraska, and it is planting season. And so, we need to get right to it this afternoon, or this morning, I should say. With that said, we do have more fields. I reworked the farm. I hated the layout. For some reason, I can't really put my finger on why, but I did. I also bought a couple productions that we'll see later on in the series, but nonetheless, it's really just been making some moves regarding this playthrough, because as I said, this one is from the Lost Files. This is one that we have not played at all. This is one that I created a long time ago when this map came out, and I just never played it. So, with that said, let's hop on down to the farm. And we'll take a little look-see around, and we will go ahead. I know we need to get the slaughter out at some point and get this cut up, because I know we've got some hay to make. We've got plenty, but I've added a few things. I've switched a few things around. What else? Added some detail, all that kind of stuff. Just the usual deal. The new Dirtymax, looking spiffy, but nonetheless, just getting ready to pull up to the farm. Very rare occasion that I get to go ahead and stream in the mornings. But nonetheless, switched up the entrances now. We now have one for the trucks to exit out of the silo. This is the main entrance for the time being. We got the same silo as well, because Cunningham Modding did just an incredible job on that. And third, we got Glen Shed here. I kind of like it here a little bit better, to be honest with you. I think it just goes better with the shop and the house. I don't know. I just think it kind of, it just kind of goes better. I liked it where the chicken barns were, don't get me wrong. But then again, I think it's a better view. We got the big old planter ready to go. Yeah, there. But we have two massive chicken barns. I may add more. We'll see. We got the Meridian seed yard or tank yard. We got the cow barn back here, along with the production to make TMR. But this probably isn't going to be for a while, to be quite honest with you. Just because of my main focus is going to be these big boys over here. And yeah, buddy, it's going to be interesting. So, with that said, we also got the other shed. We just went with the red to match the shop. So, not bad. I kind of dig it, like I said. So, yes, I do realize I forgot to turn off or turn on fast running. Oops. We got that new case, baby. Yes, sir. A new case from Custom. Yes, sir. Which it makes me sad a little bit. I had to switch out Devos. But we'll see. Maybe if the used market comes up, maybe we'll end up utilizing that to get us a little bit of either a smaller Devo case combine or maybe another custom one. We got some placeable vehicles over here. We got ones over there as well. I don't know. It just kind of looks interesting with the water, so probably a little bit goofy, but whatever. How's everybody handling the heat? Everybody handling the heat? Let's stay hydrated out there. Drink your water. Can we do that? That'd be great. Alright. I reckon the cedar is the one we're going to be using the most. So let's go ahead and And we're going to get corn done first. Added some more Elk Mountain stuff. Another one of my favorite modders out there. Yeah, we're going to be talking about a few modders today. Surprisingly enough, we have to. So, there's that. We got the sun that lights up. Freaking love that sun. And then, of course, we got the flex coil cedar. We got the new Yoda over there looking good. Then, of course, we got the 535 stagger. Alright, so let's get corn done first. Since we know that, well, that's going to be the case. Because we're only going to have one field in corn. And I think since we are going to be testing anhydrous on this map, let's plant corn in the new field and see what the heck we can get into here. All right, so I've got a lot. I've got a lot on my mind that we got to talk about. First of all, it's dinner time. So we'll give us a lucky lipper. A little bit of outlaw energy drink. Still, you know, it's almost midday, and gotta have that little pick me up. But of course, Tigers have a double header today. So, nice thing is I get a little bit of a day off. So this is one of our new fields here, and as I said, from Collins Custom Modding, we are going to be testing out the anhydrous pack. As far as I know, it is going to be updated, and it's almost like a monthly type of deal. So we're going to have to see how well it's going to work. Now, I've heard good things, that it works wonderful on this map. If you guys know that it does work on this map, of course, please let me know. But again, as I said in the last stream, and I've said it in the last couple streams that I've done on other platforms that I stream on, is that, guys, we're very, very simple around here. As long as you leave a like, I'm happy. That's all I care about. So, with that said, let's start with life here, because it's a very solemn occasion that you will ever hear me rant about certain things like this. And I feel like people are just going to say, you're turning old. Well, thank you. I know that. I'm almost 28. The point is that for me, I despise when people do this. I can't stand it because I am the type of person that is going to tell you, live your life day by day. Don't rush your life away. Don't, control what you can control. What I have such a problem with, and I despise it with the passion of 1,000 suns, is that it is a Sunday. You know what I don't want to hear about on a Sunday? Whether it's 10:46 in the morning, whether it is, let's move this over a little bit. Whether it's 10:46 in the morning, whether it's 1:30 in the afternoon, or if it's 5:31 p.m. in the evening. You're doing Wednesday. I absolutely cannot stand it. It gets me very, very upset. So here's my question. Am I just old, or does anybody else vibe with me on this? It's Sunday. I don't give a what you're doing on Wednesday. Now, unfortunately, I have to be angry here. A lot of the times, when it comes to certain things, you're going to hear me call this out. And there's a reason for that. That reason is because of this page. I absolutely despise the fact of how this went down. See, because we live in a world where everybody wants their 15 seconds of fame. And guess what? You know what they don't care about? They don't care if their reporting is wrong. They don't care if their so-called sources, aka their boys or their girls, who tell them this information, they don't care if they are right or wrong. But when it comes to the social media era that we are in, you see a lot of conflicting reports. And it's why you will not hear me report on a certain story until or unless I have double, triple, quadruple checked it to make sure the information that I bring is true. And the thing is that I am also the same person who is not going to risk their credibility to, fake it till you make it, if you will. And the funniest thing for me is that when it comes to this in particular with training camp, again, football's back. The entire point is that on Sunday we heard about Emmanuel Mosley and we heard about Marvin Jones. And everybody just scrambling to find out the information. And then it sets in. Everybody starts posting their little shots and, oh, the season's over, he's hurt, he's a bust, he's this. Nah. Here's the deal. Emmanuel Mosley had an ACL tear last year. Guys, those take time. I am not going to rush him back on the field. Because I look at what Brad Holmes did for our secondary, which was, wait for it, our worst group on the field last season. Our weakest group on the field last season. Sure enough, Brad Holmes went out and completely remade the secondary. And according to people that I talk to, the organization tends to agree with me that he needs to get trust back in his step again. Now, according to Dan Campbell, he'll be back by the end of the week. I'm assuming either today or tomorrow. If, of course, there is reporting on that, you know your boy got you. Now, let's talk about Marvin. Now, many of people were speculating, and you gotta love the social media era, because sure enough, what happened? Oh, people started posting maybe Marvin was betting. Here's my thing. If you don't have the information, don't report it. Period. Because here's the deal. If you are going to do this reporting thing, you better be able to back it up. But see, the thing is that in this era that we live in, people don't want to think for themselves. And on top of that, well, they also just want to jump to conclusions. So, no, Marvin was not betting. Marvin had a back issue. And the funniest thing about this, it's not funny at all that he's injured, but the funniest thing for me is that you have these people who want to create these stories from yesteryear, right? Because back in, I don't even remember the month, it's escaping me at this time, but we heard about the betting thing, and it started with the Lions. And the funniest thing is, where were these people then? Oh, I know. They were too busy telling you about how the expectations of this team is set up to fail. They were too busy telling you that within this little idea of that, it's the Lions, and they're gonna fail, and they're gonna do this, and they're gonna do that. They also wanted to tell you that apparently the entire team was in this betting scandal. If you don't have the facts, don't report on it. Period. It is absurd. Okay. Think we're done yet? Surprise! We got more. This is something that I cannot stand. Because in life, you are going to have to do things you don't want to do. Like, for instance, today is going to be a big laundry day here at the house. Do I want to do laundry today? No, I do not. But unfortunately, I have to. And this is where I would love to get into the mind of certain hosts, because I want to understand how, with a straight face, you can go ahead and you can ask your customer base this question without any smarm, without the fact of bringing up the SOL or the idea of that, hey, maybe, just maybe, this hype for this team has some merit to it. Now again, there is always going to be two sides of the coin. And if you are a Detroiter, or you know anything about Detroit teams, you know that this town is starving for a winner, is ready to latch on as a city and get behind this team or that team. All they have to do is win. Here is the question, and I just want to understand how you can look into a camera and ask this specific question. Is it a problem that the Lions are getting a lot of hype? Let me tell you something that this question made me laugh my off. Because here's the thing. When I sit back and I look at the hype surrounding this team, whether it is local media, national media, etc., you can look at certain things and you can understand why there is hype, if you have a brain. This is the type of ish I can't stand. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Everybody can have their own way of thinking. But we live in a society of today where there is a lot of people who are afraid to say what they want to say and stand by it. This is also hypocritical because of the fact of that when you listen to certain people, they talk out of both sides of their mouth. And they tell you, well, I can see it, but here's why I'm not gonna do this. Okay, well, that's great. So basically, you have a story, but you can't tell anybody. That's great. Thanks for that. Look, it's very simple. I come on here, I tell you how the hell I feel, and we go from there. I mean, it's really that simple. It's a part of the job. And it's the same thing in radio. You say how the hell you feel, and you talk about it. Okay. No, I'm also different when it comes to my teams, because I have a standard for my teams. A lot of people are not willing to have a standard for their team. However, no, I don't think it's a problem that the Lions are getting a lot of hype. I look at the fact of the NFL schedule makers. They saw the last 10 games of the season, and they saw how you played. Guess what? That tends to matter. And the NFL is not stupid. The NFL wouldn't put you on week 1 against the Super Bowl champs if they didn't believe in you. And I always am going to revert back to this Dan Campbell comment when he was on Good Morning Football and said, they are betting on we don't go in there week 1 and get our kicked. And I'm going to just tell you, this town wants to talk about Detroit versus everybody. Week 1 is your ultimate opportunity to use that. Because there are a lot of people who are going to look at that game and they're not going to look at the numbers. They're not going to look at the spread and just say, I'm going to just take Kansas City outright. Now again, it doesn't mean that the Lions are going to win. It also doesn't mean that they're going to lose. But it's also funny because you know who's very silent right now? And nobody has really called this out. It is the fans who talk about well, you're not a real fan. And you know what? You go in there and you lose week 1. Oh, they're going to be out in full force. It's the same way. It's the same way if you reverse the coin. But if the NFL did not believe in you, did not believe in Dan Campbell, did not believe in Van Johnson, did not believe in Jared Goff, etc., they wouldn't have put you on week 1. But see, here's where it's hypocritical for the fans. Because the fans and moan about how they want their respect. You got your respect and more this season. You've been you've been in the conversation quite a bit this offseason because of your general manager, because of your team, because of your head coach, because of your OC. And look, if this team does not make it to where I and many others believe they are going to go, I'll be the first one on here to tell you it is a complete bust of a season. But I'm also going to be the guy who's going to tell you that for the people who want to use SOL, for the people who want to use history, for people who want to use these straw man arguments, those are the very same people who don't want to have the real conversation. Because when you talk about expectations for this team, it gets nasty. It gets violent. You have people who are cowards who would instead hide on the texts instead of calling in. And the only reason they give you is SOL, history, this team sucks. See, they have blinders on exactly like the fans who believe in this team. And I'm not talking about the people who have realistic expectations. No, I'm talking about the people who believe this team is going to win the Super Bowl. I'm talking about those two different those two different fan groups. Because what it comes down to is it becomes a nasty, nasty street fight. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a standard for your team. I also don't think it's wrong to be positive about your team once in a while. But this idea that on one side of the coin, you're basically a moron if you believe in this team, I just find that to be a straw man argument. I find that to be a weak argument. It's very weak. Because of the fact of that, you use the same talking points every single time. When you have people talking about the roster improvements, the coaching improvements, the organization improvements, anybody with a sense of football, with a sense of the business side, can tell you that there is improvements on this team. Point blank. So this idea that it's a problem to have this hype, it's a joke. It really is, because I go back to the ticket text that I ended up overhearing last week. Oh, well, they're hyped every year. I'm sorry, what? Are we talking about the same team? Because I don't think we are. I can't remember a time in my life, being 27, where this team has even come close with local, national hype like this. Okay. Now, let's stick with that same realm and let's talk about what happened on Monday. We dodged a bullet. We dodged a bullet. Now, I will tell you, yeah, this is the NFL. And I made a community post about it and said, Brian Branch, you're up. Injuries are going to happen in this league. It is inevitable. And at 10:20, we got the news that C.J. Gardner-Johnson went down. It looked like a pretty bad injury from the reporting. According to Field Yates, no structural damage to the knee. And boy, oh boy, we dodged a bullet. Let me get the actual quote for you here. Here we go. Quote, the MRI on Lions safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson revealed no structural damage to his knee and is considered day-to-day at this time, I'm told. Great news for a huge part of Detroit's reshaped secondary after Gardner-Johnson left practice earlier today. Close quote. That was at 1:03. And if C.J. Gardner-Johnson would have had damage, that would have been a major loss to the defense. However, this is the NFL. It has to be next man up mentality. And when I said Brian Branch, I said it because of the fact of at that time, I love the idea of throwing my rookie in there, throwing them right to the wolves. You want to have a long career? You want to make it in this league? Right to the wolves. Okay. There is a change in this organization based on this comment from Dan Campbell. This is the ultimate sign of a leader. And here's the deal. This has trickled down. From the top down. From Dan Campbell. From Taylor Decker. To Jared Goff. To Aiden Hutchinson. that the hype train is out of control and we have to earn it. Guys, that's a message to the team. From your head coach, from your edge, from your offensive lineman, from your quarterback, saying, guys, we hear the noise. But when it comes time for week 1, and it comes time for training camp, and it comes time for all of it, put your head down, block out the noise, and go to f***ing work. That in itself is a huge, huge boast for this team. Why do I say that? Because I can't remember a time in this organization that I've heard that. Because you look at the Patricia era. You look at all of these different eras. Guys, it's very, very simple. This team has changed. You look at that comment, and you see that comment, that's the ultimate sign of a leader. That is the ultimate sign of block out the noise, put your head down, and go to fucking work. I love it. Okay. So, the start of this week, I don't know if it can be outdone in the FS community. And look, I'm always going to say it. I'm proud of this damn page, that this is the page that is going to report on it. Yeah, there's pages on social media who report on it. But I certainly don't see people streaming to talk about it, making videos to talk about it. And that's exactly why I made this page. And sure enough, we get to Mr. Hector Mods. And I am going to read you the post, and then we will go from there. Quote, "This is disgusting how some people like this guy think they can just steal work of somebody else and cannot even describe how much disgusted I am right now." Close quote. Quote, "I already contacted Giants. Hope they will respond quickly. Take this as a warning to anybody who even is thinking of doing such atrocity. Guys, if someday any of your favorite modders stop doing public mods for all of you for free, in all caps, to enjoy, or already did, in parentheses, people like this are one of the biggest reasons, close quote. Quote, and the worst part of it, he did not even try. It is an exact copy of my own work. It is obvious everywhere you take a look. i3D, XML, textures, and other files. The look itself is totally obvious to everybody. Not just steal the mod, he even thinks he can submit it to ModHub without any kind of permission and get money from others from work of others. Close quote. And this happened on Monday. This is not even the biggest one. But what this is that it was the old repair ramp. And sure enough, he's right. Because I downloaded it and I took a look at the i3D, the textures, the XML. And sure enough, that was all the proof I needed. And it was taken down off of the ModHub. And what I think is interesting about this is that this guy has not really taken much heat. Not Mr. Hector, but I can't even see that name. I'd have to go to the mod website for that. But the point is that this guy hasn't really taken much heat. And we can continue to talk about the fact of ask the same question over and over and over again. But the problem is that in that sense, we also can talk about it until we're blue in the face, and yet nothing changes. What I loved about this post was, guys, if someday any of your favorite modders stop doing public mods for all of you for free to enjoy or already did, people like this are one of the biggest reasons. You know what that is? That's 100% true. People are beginning to quit modding. And what it's going to come down to is, I think, probably not the next iteration of the game, but I would say the one after that. The following iteration of the game, if this continues to boil over the way it does, then let me just go ahead and tell you, I sure hope you know somebody to get mods. Because what this is going to come down to is a lot like college football. It is going to be pay to play. point blank. It is going to be pay to play. And I know there is a lot of people who are not okay with that. Well, unfortunately, you can thank the people who leak. You can thank the people who do these certain things because of, to me, that is where this is headed. Now, I don't think it's going to get to a point where people stop making content. I don't think that's the case at all. What I do believe is that it's the same comment I always say. You see these media outlets who report on this game. You see the people who play this game, who have millions, if not thousands, of subscribers. In my opinion, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that if these bigger guys were to step up and say enough is enough and draw a hard line in the sand, I feel as if that would be massive for this game. And again, it's going to happen. But it does not make it right in any sense, shape, or manner. It just doesn't. It does not make it right for people to go and steal each other's work. It doesn't make it right that because you didn't get what you wanted, that you need to bash that modder. In that sense, it does not make it right. And it certainly, to me, it hurts the people who just want to play the game and enjoy it for their personal time. Alright, let's refill this. But I think for the people who just want to play the game and enjoy it, to me, I think it hurts those people the most. Okay, let's go ahead and let's switch gears to the Tigers, because it is trade deadline week, and all I need to know is a number from you, the people. So here's the list. And well, first of all, let me say this: I'm not making trades just for the sake of making trades. Period. However, here is the list. Our guy Harvey Baez, Kerry Carpenter, who was reported this week, Alex Lang, Jason Foley, Michael Lorenzen, and Eduardo Rodriguez. Here is the deal with me. I want to know, how far are you willing to go? Is it all 6? Or what is your number? I think your best return you could get would be only one player. And that would be Jason Foley. Alex Lang has lost some value. I don't know what you're going to get for Erod. I don't know what you're going to get for Michael Lorenzen. But if I trade Jason Foley, you are going to get a guy who is MLB ready. I don't want to hear about prospects. I don't want to hear about it. I just don't. I don't even want to do it. I do not want prospects. I also do not want pitching. Give me young, controllable bats. That's what I want. Now, there are some hurdles you're going to have to maneuver through. If you are going to get a prospect, here's the deal. Harvey must be included in one of those deals. I've seen enough. Also, Kerry Carpenter is under team control until 29. Those are a few hurdles you're going to have to go ahead and deal with. Now again, you may get hung up on as soon as you say Harvey. However, for me, it's 2. So what is your number? I don't care what 2 it is. But I am certainly not making trades just for the sake of making trades. Now this one, it has been a fun one. Listening to the narratives, if you will, for this. Because boy, oh boy, has it been a roller coaster. But here's the deal. This Jim Harbaugh deal. People want you to believe that it was over a, wait for it, hamburger. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. This is the ultimate control the narrative. A lot like you did with a certain player who got drafted, but we'll leave that alone. The point is that there is a list of things that is going on. And the funniest part about it is that the first 4 games of your schedule, it is easy. Whether it's myself, you, your father, your mother, my father, whoever it may be, could go out there and coach these 4 games and you would still win. The entire point is that, no, this was over a laundry list of things. You lied to investigators, and the cover-up was worse than the crime. And the funniest part about this is that nobody has taken it to this place except for yours truly. As goofy as this sounds, work with me on this. Because I'm not here to talk about talk. To me, this just brings more validity to Blake Corum's comments. By the way, did you guys see Blake Corum now? That guy is going to be a beast this season. Bulked up a little bit. My goodness. Alright, anyway, here's the deal. To me, it brings validity to Blake Corum's comments. It is national title or bust. And my thing being is, look, as far as this Harbaugh deal, I don't care. I don't care. Because yeah, cool. Yeah, you're doing everything that you need to do to win. Cool. I don't see anything wrong with that. Because there's a lot more schools that are doing that. But see, here's the problem. Michigan wants to talk about being squeaky clean, doing it the right way. No more of that, boys. To me, look, I don't care. It's very, very simple. Go out and win the Natty. To me, it brings validity to the comments of Blake Corum and many of the other players on this team that this has to be the year. You know, you go back to I think it was either year 5 or year 6. And I remember sitting here and I was on our show and I was just listening to people talk about, I'm done, I want this guy gone, get out. Okay, cool. Well, now the tables have turned. And look, I think one of the biggest reasons why this team is going to be in that conversation is the fact that JJ McSizzle is coming back. On top of that, both your running backs are back. And that's going to be a deadly combination.